Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Ganana Antva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavin Kavinam Mupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Shrunvan Nodibisse Dasadanam Prano Deve Sarasvadevaje Vajinevade Denama Vitrayavado Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Saishwaraya Vitmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahe Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Shama Shivadhatri Swaha Swada Namostude. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam Lin, Sairam from Malaysia.
Sairam Sharma, Sairam from New Zealand. Thank you, Bhagwan, for allowing Sharma and I to present a most interesting topic, and which has been requested by one of our listeners. And we thank you very much for your input. We value it. And if any of our listeners have questions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comments, and Sharma and I will endeavor to do a program on that very topic. And we do welcome our listeners. You have no idea how much we value your giving a little time to listen to our little talks. Om Shri Sai Ram. So our talk today is Swami on the universe and creation. Yes, it sounds like a big topic, but Swami, as the eternal teacher, has broken it down for us so that we can begin to not only understand it, but to picture it. Even though, as he said, we live in 3 dimensions, which is physical, mental, and spiritual, and he said we do not have the gray matter to understand the higher dimensions. However, he has given us so many wonderful clues. My favorite story about this was one that Dr. John Hislop told me, and Jack said, Len, I once said to Swami, we were having a conversation in the car, because Jack was one of those very blessed souls who got to ride with Swami in the car and ask him questions, of course, which is what we would do if we were riding in the car with Swami. We would pepper him with questions, surely. And Jack said, Swami, he said, you are so busy running the universe, I don't understand how you have got the time to talk to me. And Swami laughed, and he said, Hislop, you see this car we are riding in? And Jack said, yes, Swami. Swami said, how did we start the car? Oh, said Jack, we put the key in the ignition, Swami. And Swami said, that is what the universe is like. I created the universe. It is like a car. Then I put in the key. I turned on the ignition. It runs by itself. So I have got plenty of time to talk to you, Hislop. I love this story. This is so Swami. He's always and so often comparing to some of his teachings to a car. And so we can think of the universe as this giant car with the ignition going, and nature is driving it. Well, actually, the 5 elements, that is what nature is. Swami explained this also to Hislop. We are in the back seat riding with Swami. Now, as an illustrator, of course, I want to illustrate the universe. And so I once asked Swami, what does the universe look like? And Swami loves these kind of questions. He loves spiritual questions. And he described the universe as a great cosmic being. Now, I immediately got this huge picture of a gigantic cosmic being. I saw it in the dark, made up of millions and millions of stars. This is just the picture I got in my mind. And all of the stars and all of the planets and the universe itself all link up to make this great, magnificent cosmic being who is floating in a lingam, that beautiful oval shape. Because if you look at the, if you went to Google and typed in the diagram of the universe expanding, you will see that the universe is expanding in the shape of a lingam, in the shape of an oval. And indeed, when Swami created 5 divine lingams for a dear friend of mine, and he said these lingams embody the 5 elements and the 5 senses. Now, the lingam that he created that represented Earth and the universe was a pure crystal lingam. It's long, sort of like a long oval shape with perfect holes at either end. It is the most beautiful thing. I have a photograph of these 5 lingams, and perhaps we can post that as our thumbnail. So part of the secret of the universe, I have discovered, is in these 5 lingams that Swami created for my dear friend. Because Swami, in explaining the universe, said that when you want to understand the universe, the thought of Brahman should be firmly established in the heart. When this is done, one has to look upon the whole universe as a manifestation of the divine. And what is that? One must realize the 5 elements, space, air, fire, water, and earth, the 5 pranas, which is the vital breaths, the 5 sense organs, the mind, and the speech. All of these have originated from Brahma. All that is beautiful and great in nature, the lofty mountains, the vast oceans, the stars in the sky, must be regarded as proclaiming the glory and power of the divine. The sweet fragrance of flowers, the delectable juice of fruits, should be regarded as tokens of God's love and compassion. The entire universe must be considered as the temple of God. Now, I can describe, as you will see from the thumbnail, 5 magnificent lingams that Swami created one after another for my friend. He said these lingams embody the power of the 5 elements and the 5 senses. So we can look at this, and if you look at the clear lingam in the illustration, it is just under the photograph, it is just underneath a flower petal, but you can see it quite clearly. It is a beautiful crystal shape. And around it are the rest of the lingams. You will see a dark one that actually, when you stare into it, I have stared into it, and that is the embodiment of water. And the pure white one is the embodiment of fire, because fire, when it burns as hot, it is pure white. Air is a most beautiful lingam that has flashes of beautiful color like turquoise and opal colors in amongst the milky whiteness. That is air. And then space is one that is just a beautiful, large, kind of not quite clear crystal, and they are all different shapes. And of course, the smaller the lingam is, the more powerful it is. So these lingams also emit vibhuti. So they are very, very amazing creations of Swami. And my friend does an abhishekam of them every morning. She does not need to chant the Lingam mantra. She simply washes them in spring water as per Swami's instructions, and she gives out this water for healing. So let us look further at these images that we can use to picture the universe. If you don't want to picture it as a giant cosmic being, you can picture it as these 5 lingams. Now, there is so much Swami says about the universe. We will actually broadcast what he has to say and my stories to support it in three segments. So this is segment 1. Now, Swami has said, the universe is an instrument. Now, let's think of that, an instrument, something that God uses to reveal the majesty of God. The inner firmament in the heart of man. Now, Swami is talking about the spiritual heart here. The inner firmament, that is the inner reality, the inner, well, a firmament is what is used to describe, we stand upon the firmament, the earth, and nature. But Swami says the inner firmament in the heart of man is also equally a revelation of the universe. And I have heard that saying from whence I was a child, that the universe is within you, that the human body and mind and spirit is a blueprint of the universe. And Swami is saying that the spiritual heart is the source of all this universal knowledge. We tend to ignore that because we are so busy with our worldly life that we don't stop to think that our entire body is a blueprint of the universe. But look at all the functions the body performs without us even wanting or knowing how to do it. We breathe, we digest food, we inhale and exhale air, we excrete, our blood runs all around the body and is pumped back and forth, back and forth. We're not controlling all this. Who's doing that? God is doing that. How is it being powered? By the breath. Swami goes on to say, God is the breath of one's breath. Since he, God, has no specific form, he cannot be indicated by words, nor can his mystery be penetrated by the other senses. So when we are looking at the universe, we are looking at a reflection of the splendor of the Lord. Swami, and I am quoting from Sathya Sai Speaks, volume 23 and volume 16. The universe is illumined through and through by the splendor of the Lord. The universe shines forever in the glory of the Lord. So when you are looking at the dewdrops in the morning on the plants, when you are looking at the iridescence of a bird's wing, when you see the sparkle in a flower's petal, when you look at it close up, or a leaf, you will see sparkles of light. Even when I look at the screen of my smartphone, I can just see lots and lots of little sparkles of light. Everything in the universe is composed of light, which has manifested into different forms. Look at a rainbow. Look at a water drop of rain. It will reflect all kinds of sparkles and colors. I like looking at the ocean on a very sunny day. It is a sea of sparkling lights. Look at the night sky. It is a sea of sparkling lights on a clear night. My dear friend, Professor Venkatraman, used to say that the reason he loved looking at the stars, and bear in mind he is an atomic physicist, he said one night he was meditating, looking at the dark night sky, punctuated by tiny stars and planets. And the thought came to him, the night sky is like a dark curtain of velvet, with little holes punctured in it, and the stars are merely pinpoints of light, which are part of a much bigger light behind the curtain. What a beautiful meditation this is. This is how we begin to understand and picture the universe as God's glory. As that is what it is. As far as creation goes, if I may skip very quickly to the next point in this series, creation, as Swami explained to Dr. Hislop, is Swami just put the key in the ignition and turned it on. And so he has plenty of time to not only listen to the prayers of everyone in the world and monitor the goings on in the world. He has got plenty of time to listen to all of us, or any of us who want to have questions. And if our questions are sincere enough and are spiritual enough, because that is what Swami wants, he wants spiritual questions, he will find a way to answer them. Now, on creation, Swami has said, prior to creation, before there was any activity, there was darkness. After that, there was light and movement. And of course, there is always his classic quote was that I was once one and I was lonely, and so I made myself into the many. I made myself into the many. That means, I don't go anywhere near the Big Bang Theory or anything like that. I only stick to what Swami has said about creation. But he has always maintained that two eternal entities involved in creation is the masculine entity, which is called Purusha and is permanent, and the feminine entity, known as Prakriti, which is perishable and impermanent. With the masculine entity of creation is the reality of divinity, or the cosmic witness. The female aspect of creation, also called primal matter, and you could just pick up a hand of earth or pick up a star or a handful of ocean, that's primal matter, is given a motherly connotation. So the female aspect of the creation is called Bhumata, Mother Earth. Lok Mata, Mother of the World. And the male aspect is called Jagannatha, Lord of Creation, and Vishwanatha, Lord of the Universe. Swami says, and I am quoting from Summer Showers and Upanishad Vahini, creation means an act, a result. What then was there before that act? And he says, before this, Atma alone was. The world is a product which was latent. And of course, what is a good example of latency? Butter is latent in milk, right? You've got milk, you churn the cream, and you get butter. That is latency. Swami says, in the latent stage, it was unmanifested in the Atman itself. In other words, the universe had not come into being. But it was there all along. Its possibility was there all along in God. And then one day he decided he's going to bring it out. He's going to churn. And out comes creation. Out comes whatever he wanted. Swami was a wonderful example of this when he was in his physical form. He could bring into creation anything he wished by moving his hand. He would move his hand as he did for Hislop, and there was a whirling mass of looked like white, like a white cloud in Swami's palm. Jack told me this. And as it whirled around, it sparkled. And Swami said, isn't creation wonderful? And meanwhile, this whirling mass in his hand settled down, began to solidify, and it was a lump of candy. It was a sweet, or a lolly, as we call it here in New Zealand. And Swami gave it to Hislop. It was still quite warm, a little bit like taffy. Jack said it was a little bit like taffy, like a soft caramel. And he said, eat. And Hislop bit into it. He goes, oh, this is delicious. And Swami said, see, God is love, and love is delicious. So I hope that is a helpful introduction to Swami on the universe and creation. And Sharma and I will continue Swami's explanation in part 2. Until then, loving Sai Ram to all. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Om Om Shri Sai Ram. Om तस्मात् कारुण्य भावेन रक्ष साईश्वरा. हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु. ओम शांति शांति शांति.